to Shanghai, ladies and gentlemen, where it's Chinese Grand Prix weekend. But before we can race, we need to qualify. And who's going to take that coveted pole position? How will our grid line up? We're about to find out. Welcome to qualifying.
Hello there everybody, it's Joe here and welcome back once again to my F1 25 My Team Career Mode. This is round 2 of season 3 and we are now at the Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last one from Melbourne, do be sure to check that one out before you see this one.
I'm afraid we've dropped to P22.
Well, despite an iffy qualifying, it was the perfect start to a season, grabbing the win in Australia. Let's keep that positive momentum going. To be honest, it was an unexpected win. A, because after qualifying we were P9, and B, I just didn't think the pace was going to be that strong. And we did have to push for the win, but in the second phase of that race, as soon as we got onto the hard tyres, we were comfortably quickest. Anyway, SQ1, we've made it through. We're in P9, a little bit off, so with time to find. But we have made it through SQ2, and we've closed the gap down. But frustratingly, Kimi Antonelli did not make it into SQ3. And I'm going to be honest, in terms of the constructors, I could do with Antonelli being a little bit closer to where I'm at. So now we're in SQ3, giving it some, trying to find a way into the top half of the top 10, but this lap just hasn't been it. I'll be honest, we made a couple of mistakes at the beginning of the lap, and those mistakes have kind of stayed with us throughout the lap. Now we're going down the long straight, and it's all about what kind of straight line speed we can muster as to whether it saves this lap or not. Heading round the hairpin now, jumping over the curb. I hope that hasn't upset the balance of the car by hurting the floor as we now fly in through the final corner, and that is surely going to be P10. That is P10. Actually no, it's P9. It's P9, so it's not all bad news, but we've definitely got a lot of hard work to do in the sprint if we want to be competitive.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hakkinen, Senna, George Russell, and Norris. Jackson, Tsunoda, Leclerc, and Carlos Sainz. Antonelli, Hülkenberg, Alex Albon, and Stroll. Behrman, Bortoleto, Pierre Gasly, and Paul Aron. Doohan, Lawson, O'Sullivan, and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. And
we got 10 laps here in Shanghai in this sprint to showcase what we can do and what this car can do. And we were a little bit late on the start, but we are underway. I'm hopefully at the very least going to hold position, and at best we're going to try and sneak round the outside of Yuki Tsunoda. We may even be able to have Jackson and Norris too. Let's have a go, and then brake late to the inside. No, they've got quite a good run out of there. And Jackson stays ahead. I don't know where Norris is. No, Norris is on the right, so he stays ahead. This is going to be a dive bomb down the inside of the hairpin, and we do manage to take both drivers, move up into P6, and now we're all over the back of Ayrton Senna, the 3-time champion in the Ferrari. That's not the racing line, however you try and address that. And now we've got Aiden Jackson down the straight having a go, and that's Senna and Russell having a battle on that one. Jackson trying to get down the inside. We brake a bit later. Now we're having a look at Senna and Russell Both of them a bit slow off the corner, and we may be able to take one or both of them here. We're not able to take both of them. We did try and take Senna, but he's now up the inside of the last corner. We did bang wheels. Senna getting back through, and now Jackson's getting ready to shape up again. I want Senna back. Some great racing there at this early stage of this sprint race, and I did think about a look down the inside of that hairpin there, but that would have been the fastest way to lose a front wing, and we don't want that, especially not when we're in a decent position and we could score a good couple of points here. Let's just try and shape him up, as look at that, Jackson's trying to force his way through there, and that didn't end up going well for him. Now we're shaping up Ayrton Senna, and we're taking P5 from him. No, we're not. Senna's fighting hard round the outside, but he did have to succumb in the end as we take the position, and now I'm shaping up to try and fight George Russell for fourth. So a decent sprint race so far, but Senna's coming back at us, and we've got a yellow flag in front. Who's that slowing down? I think that's Oscar Piastri. Piastri's sprint race coming to an end, and that's unfortunate for him because he's going to be starting at the back when we do the feature race now. And Senna wants P4 back, and Senna is taking it back. Ayrton Senna blasts past me on the straight as if I was standing still. I'm trying to look for a way down the inside, but Senna has the position, and he's done a good job to take the position from me. And now I've got to try and reshape him and have another go. Lap 6 now, and we're trying to take P5, or P4 should I say, back from Senna down the inside of the first corner. No! Senna has the momentum, he has the position, but he's given us room up the inside, and that was all we needed to take the position from the Ferrari driver. But I don't think Senna is giving up there as we come back to the back straight. He's within 2 tenths, he's going to have a go. I'm going to try and cover the inside, but look at that, Senna's already blasted past. We might be able to outbrake him into the hairpin, but I'm thinking, nope, let's try and have another go into one, or see how he gets off the hairpin. And the answer is not too well, but that's also now going to give him the DRS into turn 1, so I've got to try and find something to defend with. And I'm going to be honest, I've got nothing to defend with. Senna blasting straight back past, moving into P4, but this is a great battle between us. I'm really enjoying this battle as we now move on to the last lap. Is it going to be Senna in fourth, or are we as Charles Leclerc going to be able to take that position from the Ferrari driver? Or is Lando Norris going to have something to say about this? Because he's still in this battle, and he's about half a second behind me. He's closer to me than I am to Senna, so Norris might have something yet to say as we head on to this final lap. But it looks as though we are not going to be able to get past Senna, but Norris might have a go. So let's not rule anything out as we go around the right-hander, and Senna's already got over a second of a gap, so I think we're going to be more worrying now about whether Lando Norris is finding a way through. And look at the Mercedes, he's having a go, but we're able to cover, and nothing really happening there, nothing untoward going there, and we're going to hold on to P5. It's going to be Max Verstappen winning the sprint, but it's going to be P5 for us. Not too shabby a day. I'm quite happy with that result, to be honest. It's good points, and points that we can carry forward into the Grand Prix with decent momentum. So, I mean, it could have been better. And I suppose in the one hand, if I'm thinking about the championship, the one thing I've got to think about is that every race I'm going to be going in and trying to maximise my points. That's the goal at this stage, just maximise the points and see in the championship where we end up. At the moment, it is looking good, but there's a whole nother qualifying and race to come yet, so let's get into that, shall we?
Welcome along to Shanghai, ladies and gentlemen, where it's Chinese Grand Prix weekend. But before we can race, We need to qualify. And who's going to take that coveted pole position? How will our grid line up? We're about to find out. Welcome to qualifying.
Right, it's time to qualify for the main event, and well, that's not the racing line there. Going a little bit deep, that could cost us some crucial temps, but it's Q1, and I'm confident that even with that mistake, we have got the car and the pace underneath us to make it through into the second part of qualifying. Unfortunately for Stroll, Aaron, Doohan and Hadjar, the pace is not there, and Haas really struggling at this part of the season. That they're in last, but that's so far 5th, which isn't too bad. It becomes 8th, which is round about where I expected. But look at Aiden Jackson in the Ferrari in P2. He really cooked in Q1. Q2, again, we're through, and Antonelli a whole half a second faster than us. That's a bit more like it. Right, into Q3 now, and I'm really hoping that we can have a better position other than the bottom half of the top 10, because round here it can be, you can overtake round here and you can make your way forward with strategy, but I want to start at the front. We haven't really had a race where we've started at the front and been near the front the whole thing, so let's try and do that here and qualify in the top half of the top 10. Sainz is currently P6 and we are just about up on his time as we complete the second sector. Look at Hakkinen, Albon and Antonelli. Antonelli struggling in Q3, which is a little bit on the disappointing side. I was really hoping that here he would show strong in the second part of Q3 and he would be right up there. That just has not happened. But for us, it seems relatively good in this sector. I couldn't have gone through the hairpin any better. Nailed that apex to perfection. Now it's into the last corner. Carried some good speed round there. What's the time gonna be? It feels relatively good. We maximised our lap and it is P4. So one of our strongest qualifying of this career mode for sure. We are starting P4. What can we do about the 3 ahead of us? This is gonna be a good race.
It's time again then for Formula One in Shanghai. Northwest of the thriving city of over 24 million people is a circuit that first featured in the championship calendar back in 2004. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. And Ayrton Senna completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Leclerc, Lando Norris and Piastri, Sainz, Hakkinen, Albon and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Jackson, Tsunoda, Liam Lawson and Bortoletto, Behrman, Gasly, Zach O'Sullivan and Nico Hülkenberg, Stroll, Doohan, Aaron and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. And let's talk momentum with this driver. What a sprint it was.
Heavy rain is falling at the start of this Chinese Grand Prix, and we are on the redundant tyre that is the full wets. What can we do here? We are underway and it's a decent start. Russell's a little bit slow though. We might be able to capitalise on him. Down the inside we go. Can we get ahead of Russell? The answer is yes, we can. Verstappen leads. Senna is second, although we're having a look at Senna and we've gone down the inside of the Ferrari and moved our car into second place with Max Verstappen up ahead, but we've just not got the outright grip to put the throttle down, and we've lost a bit of time to Verstappen there. Look, he's already over a second clear. as I'm trying to put the throttle down and just not finding the grip. Someone's had an off behind. I think that's a Mercedes that's had a bit of a moment behind us there. But look how much I'm struggling round the corners, and it's just about getting on the throttle after the corner. We're just not getting that overall grip, and Senna should be able to have me down the straight. He was a bit of a rainmaster back in the day, and Senna, with just about the width of an F1 car, has made it through. But we're going to brake later and go to the outside and nearly go off the circuit there. Senna still trying to hang on, but we've got a better exit from the hairpin. Are we going to get past him down the inside? Yes, we are. Senna just backs out of that one. But look at the gap Verstappen has in front. 3.6 seconds. He's not going to be worried about us behind him at all. As Senna has a look down the inside, we're able to shut that one off. Oh, this is going to be a tough race. And as we're now on lap 3, Verstappen almost 7 seconds clear. That is outrageous pace that he has on us. And we are just outrageously slow at this stage of the race. So obviously the wet conditions really just hurting us at this stage, as we now head round the long right-hander with Senna preparing once again to have a go. Piastri with him too, so he didn't get impacted from his engine failure in the sprint race. He didn't end up with a penalty, so that's all good. Piastri in P4 now. He's going to have a go at the pair of us. I'm staying on the left, Senna in the middle, and Piastri did back out there. And it's still side by side with Senna coming out of the hairpin. And now, once again, we're side by side with Senna on the straight on lap 4. The Ferrari's not giving way at all. Piastri's trying to go for the outside. No way through there, as it's all a case of who's bravest on the brakes. But all this battling has allowed Verstappen to get 11 seconds clear. I've had enough of these tyres now. I am going to try the intermediates, as the rain is just starting to ease, and I'm thinking that this might be a good time to pit in for Inters. So I don't know, it's a bit of a gamble, but I feel like it's a gamble that's going to work, especially with the rain getting lighter. And we've got a very sticky front right there that is going to give us a little bit of grief. But out of the pits we go. That was a pretty decent stop, I'm not going to lie. If truth be told, I'm quite happy with that. And the sky is starting to brighten here at Shanghai. So all the more proof that we have gone for the right strategy. And I think we are soon going to be catching anybody that is sticking it out on full wets. But for now, we're looking pretty good. We've set a purple middle sector, which just shows instantly that the Inters are the right tyre to be on. Verstappen setting the fastest lap on the race, still on them full wet tyres. And as we're on lap 6, look at the gap now. It's 7 seconds, so we've gained 5 seconds on the cars that are in front of us. The fastest lap was a 1 minute 50. We're now about to smash that and do a 49.5. So we have, a 49.9. So we've smashed the fastest lap time. And now it's a case of managing these tyres and keeping up the good pace for as long as we can. And seeing if we can make any inroads to cars in front, particularly Max Verstappen. So is this pit stop going to bring us closer? Senna's out of the race. Please, for the love of God, do not throw a red flag. Now, we don't get a red flag, but what we do get is a virtual safety car, which is going to slow me down for the moment at least. And I don't know if anybody is going to take the advantage to pit under it. But by the time we get round to this part of the circuit, the virtual safety car is in and we are racing again. And I'm taking Bortoletto's 5th place. And now we're getting ready to take P4 away from Isaac Hadjar, who won't believe his luck for a while. But once we're back racing properly, Verstappen has got 20 seconds. So he has actually increased his lead, but I think he was able to get a bit more of a gap by pitting under the virtual safety car. And we've got another yellow flag. We're trying to get back past George Russell, who just got past us on the straight. We're now going to the outside. We've got another car out of the race. That's Lance Stroll. And Russell gives me a tap. We've got another virtual safety car. And we're back underway again. And this time we're making another move on George Russell. We're not quite through there, unfortunately. But Russell taking second. We're down to third. And at this stage now, I'm hoping we can hold off Piastri. But look how dry the circuit is getting. It's not going to be long before we're slick ready. And I'm indeed, at the end of lap 16, I'm making an early stop to try the slick tyres, see if that is the right way to go. And again, hoping that we don't get an unlucky red flag at that moment. But off go the inters, on go the hards. And those are the tyres that are going to take me to the end of this Chinese Grand Prix. We leave the pits in P13, and they actually feel very, very good. So I think this is the right time to make that pit stop, and we may even gain on some of the cars in front, depending on how well we've called this. And it is another purple sector in the middle sector, so that to me shows that we have made the right decision. Indeed, the rest of the pack are now starting to make their final stops onto dry tyres. Russell has made his, as has Verstappen, and we're still behind George Russell. So it looks like we're on for P3 at the moment, which won't be too shabby a result. And Verstappen, look at that, he's setting fastest lap after fastest lap. Max Verstappen, a little bit untouchable here. We've got George Russell 3 seconds up the road, and we're currently sitting very pretty in P3. So I would happily take P3 from this race after the struggle we had in the conditions and how hard we had to fight to keep Senna and Piastri behind us. Hakkinen and Jackson are pretty much in their own battle, but over the last few laps we have caught George Russell, so we might be able to attack the Mercedes and grab P2 yet, and that would be an even better result here at Shanghai. What can we do about George Russell? We're going to try and do him on the straight. Round the left-hander we go. I'm looking for a little bit of clear air there and not to be tucked up behind Russell with the dirty. But now we're coming round the right-hander, and if we can just hang on round this right-hander and we're staying within 6.5, 7 tenths, this will be close enough to mount an attack for sure. DRS is about to be open. DRS is now open. Let's close this gap right down. Let's have a go at the Mercedes. We're not close enough this time, but this is where we're strong. Out of the corner, and for sure thinking about turn 1. Verstappen is a long way away now. And look at Jackson. He's starting to catch us while we're battling Russell. But we're going to try and get past Russell as soon as we can. And we have got past Russell down the straight. No, we haven't. We've gone straight on. And George Russell says, thank you very much. I am just going to take that straight back off you, Nino. Anyway, lap 25. We've now got another run at George Russell. Aiden Jackson having a brilliant time of things up in 4th. Hakkinen is trying to catch him. And we're going after George Russell again. And this time, we go around the outside. Have we got the move done? The answer is yes, we have. We are clear of the Mercedes and up into P2. And that would be a great finish for us if we can hold on. But Russell, he's going to want to go. But Russell's lost quite a bit of time. So I do suspect maybe he has run into an issue, has George Russell. And we're holding on to P2 very nicely indeed. We've just got half a lap to go now. And the sky is clear as anything. No hint of any rain that fell earlier in the race. And Verstappen is about to win said race. So give it a few more seconds or so before we even get onto the straight. Max Verstappen, he crosses the line and wins this Chinese Grand Prix just as we now get onto the straight. But for us, we struggled in the wet for pace, and once we got to dry conditions, the pace was relatively decent, but by that point, Verstappen had just performed his usual wet weather masterclass and got half a minute up the road. But it's going to be P2 here, a maximised result. I am very happy with that. Another podium to start this season off. I am still confident going forward that this could be the season we start fighting for wins and maybe even a championship.
Well, I think there wasn't anything more. Again, for this race,
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
They led from lights out to the flag at the end, and their race victory was never in doubt, was it? Brilliant stuff by them.
And once all the hard work is over, and after lap of brilliant racing, it's time now to celebrate with our podium trio. One of the all-time greats celebrates yet again. It's another podium, it's another top step for Max Verstappen. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, I don't know what more we could have done there. I mean, if we'd have had better pace in the wet, we might have been able to stay closer to Max. But even in the dry, his pace was quite significantly quicker than us. But that half a minute deficit, I'm going to try and not feel too disheartened about, because it's P2. It's some very strong points. And if you can't win, always try and pick up P2. Try and be consistent. Russell was third then, and Aiden Jackson, a very strong result in fourth. Which means to say then that championship-wise, we are still leading the championship, owing to the fact that Max Verstappen had that engine failure in Australia. But with a win and a sprint win, he's now only 14 points behind us, as is George Russell. Norris Hakkinen 4th and 5th. Senna in 6th, with Jackson 7th after that great result. And Piastri, Tsunoda and Antonelli rounding out the top 10. But I am really going to need more from Kimi Antonelli if we're going to go for this Constructors' Championship as well. At the moment, we're sitting in P2 with Mercedes leading the way. Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren 3rd, 4th and 5th, with Williams significantly less points in 6th. Thank you so much for watching this instalment of Career Mode. Please don't forget to leave a like and hit subscribe if you are new here and you want to see more content from me. And until the next time, TTFN, ta-ta for now, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.